Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to Indian Rider Radio After Hours. It's Friday night. It's 8 o'clock on the East Coast and a little after, so might as well be us, right? Well, I'm glad you guys stopped in, and I appreciate you hanging around because we're going to have a little fun tonight. I'm kind of running solo, unless my friend Riding Fish has a little luck getting connected with his internet in sunny Florida. Yeah, the guy is still down there. He went down for Daytona Bike Week for a little while, then, of course, a family vacation that took him over to Orlando. And, he's flying out tomorrow and then back to Minnesota. So while he's hanging out there, you and I and the rest of us are going to hang out here. And we're going to leave the door wide open tonight for pretty much anything you want to talk about. Um, you know, I, I I will tell you right up front, and you see it on the screen, we are going to give away a $500 Custom Dynamics gift card tonight. And it's everything to light up your ride. And they have the Pro Beam LED programs and lights that they have. And it's really an amazing thing that they do. And you need to check them out. CustomDynamics.com. We're giving away a $500 gift card tonight. And if you don't believe me, check out Bearded Bobber on YouTube. And he's got a recent video out with Custom Dynamics, and you'll appreciate it. It's good stuff. So tonight, let's talk about what you guys want to talk about. And one of the things it has been a big topic around Indian circles probably for the last couple of weeks now with Bike Week and the announcement of obviously the Challenger Tune. Now, if you really want to go into depth with that as to how it's going to happen and what's involved with it, by all means, we can talk about that. But the podcast episode this week really highlights that in depth. I've got Tim Sutherland with me, and of course, Tim goes through it in detail. And there's been videos posted both on YouTube and on Facebook and other places. If you want to acquire the tune, you want to get it for your bike, there's plenty of ways to go about it. And those videos are really the best way to understand it. We're welcome to talk about it tonight. Whatever you guys want to bring up, we're going to throw it out there and talk about it. Um, and quite frankly, we've got a lot to talk about. Not just the Challenger Tune. Obviously, the Chief has now been ridden by a lot of people. They've had a chance to get out and see it firsthand. We have a new Chief for the Elite. And there's just a variety of things happening that we can talk about motorcycle-wise across the board. And there's some changes going on in the industry we can talk about. Racing is obviously a topic as well. So we'll leave the door open and whatever you guys want to discuss and whatever you want to do, we'll talk about. So let's start right away. We'll dive right into the comments. Look like we have here. Heard Indiana Polaris isn't going to have parts for the new Chief until June. All right, John. Well, there's a couple of things for that. First, those bikes, they have to roll out, get into the showrooms, and then dealers determine, in that case, with a new bike presentation, just how many of those things they want to carry in their inventory. So, yeah, it will take a little while once the bikes land in showrooms for dealers to determine how much of that they want to make as part of their inventory. And that being said, I think that's going to be one of the reasons why there will be delays in parts for them. And still, too, we're also talking about another ECU that's pretty complex on that bike. And I think that's going to make a difference in terms of how long it takes for certain, especially performance parts, to come out associated with the bike. So what do we have here? We got Wit. What do you got for me? I enjoy seeing a lot of these moto vloggers and influencers and their thoughts on the FTR and soon the Chief. Now, yeah, let's talk about that. What do you think about the FTR? What do you think about the new Chief? Those are, open game. We can talk about that tonight. And oh well, Challenger 2. Now there's a thought. All right. Wit, that has been released within the last 2 weeks or so. Indeed, yes, it has. And oh, look at David Digby, who was on the show just last week, and it's morning over there. Hello, mate. Nice to have you along. I'm glad you dropped in. David, by the way, is a guest on the show when we talked with he and Vaclav Urban. And you might want to check him out. It's two Digbys, one Indian. The guy's going across the Australian continent this year. So let's check that out. All right. So who do we have here? Slim56, how are you, my friend? Watching on YouTube. And we are on the Riding Fish YouTube channel tonight, in addition to the Indian Rider Radio Facebook page. So I got to ride the Chief Dark Horse in Daytona. It was great, fast, and a decent ride. That's kind of the consensus. That's what people have talked about, is that first, because the motor is as powerful as it is in a lighter weight, more compact frame, the thing's going to be a monster no matter what you do. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to ride. Glad to hear that, Slim. I appreciate that. All right. So what else we got? Challenger parts still. What is this question? Challenger parts are still on back order too. Yeah, John, keep in mind that although the OEM generally has big stockpiles of these things made, you have to realize that they are made by somebody in some cases, whether it be the OEM themselves or an outside vendor. And with the whole COVID year, it may not have even been the outside vendor. It might have been their supplier that slowed down and delayed those parts and whatnot. And again, demand has been incredibly high for them. So that's how it goes. Tim Arnold says, hi. Hello, Tim. Nice to have you along. And what are we talking here? Power Vision 3. Yeah, we could talk a little bit about that. I think that is, not too far away. Let's face it, it's going to be every upgrade that we can do that is going to improve how these things are tuned. I mean, you got to realize that that is critical now with the technology that's in these bikes. They're not as simple as they used to be, and it's one of those things where if you don't, I mean, guys, just be patient with the aftermarket and with suppliers because it's going to take a little while for all this stuff to find its way out into the marketplace. What do we have here? Oh, David says hi. A lot of excitement on the new chief here in the Down Under. Now, David is in Northwest Australia. He's in Perth, and he just recently posted a video too with um, his dealership that he was visiting and a ride that they did. And yeah, it's looks like that's going to be an exciting thing down under. I'm glad. What do we got here? Oh, riding fish. Look, he is trying to communicate with us. Coming up from the Florida Everglades, working on my chief and then on my FDR stuff. Okay, I see how this is. Just putting it out there. I already expressed myself with the Indian and the GM for my local dealership. Yeah, I get that, John. I appreciate your sentiment because having worked in dealerships as long as I did, you understand the urgency. Customers come in and riders of these things, they want to do what they want to do and they're ready to do it now. And being told that there's going to be delays and all that kind of thing is frustrating. I get it. No worries, man. Terry Scott, what do we got, Terry? Do you think Indian will come out with a retro bike anytime soon? I believe the vintage is emblematic of Indian. It would like to see another retro bike. Well, Terry, let's talk about that a little bit. I think what you're seeing in terms of retro now is not what we would have considered Indian retro in the past. When Indian reintroduced itself in 13 and 14, it knew it had to first appeal to what they consider now to be their heritage customer. And that is the guy who does love the Valance fenders and the tan leather and the iconic colors and some of the things and the imagery that was Indian motorcycle. Today, your modern rider leans a little bit more when you're talking retro to what you're actually seeing with, for example, a new Chief. That's a good part of what that represents. And so we may see some of the models stay in the lineup and evolve in different ways. But in terms of a true another heritage bike, I don't know if they're ready for that yet. I think even if you look at the new Chieftain Elite, for example, it's not built on the heritage platform like it used to be. It's now really coming out of the Dark Horse side. And I think that's going to change things a little bit. So we'll take a look. All right, what do we have here? Would just like to voice my complaint about riding fish. After watching his videos, I was forced to buy an Indian Challenger. Brian, I have no sympathy, man. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. What do we got from Mark? I've heard no one talking about Indian's adaptive headlights. Oh, good point. If you want to talk about that, we can too. I think this is really cool. Now, Custom Dynamics, obviously, and a lot of other aftermarket companies do make adaptive headlamps. Indian has made one that is, again, one of those things that you wouldn't expect the OEM to come right out and say, you know what, we've got a great one here. And they would have just put it out. But this really does an incredible job of lighting up the road. It works almost so instinctively that the light follows your eyes. It's really a nice setup. And if you want one or like one, you should get it. Oh, what do we have here? Sorry, Brian, or you're welcome. Yeah, any way you want to go. And what do we got here, Russ? Are we going to see the Challenger motor in another bike? You probably are. And it probably won't be that long. I think there was kind of a curve that India Motorcycle was looking at, thinking that maybe it might be another year, 18 months before tuning capabilities were adapted now on the Challenger. That having happened a little quicker, I think you're now going to see kind of a sense of urgency from the manufacturer in producing that bike and putting it into another thing. And realize too, we saw not very long ago patent drawings and other things that were submitted that really alluded to a fixed wing or a fixed fairing bagger or a bagger with a handlebar or fork mount fairing with the Power Plus motor design. So I think that's a reality, and I think it could come soon. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them at the pace that they're doing things right now. Sure, they're going to hold a few things out and they're going to wait to see what happens with the Power Plus and the development of that and the tuning of it and the performance side of it. But you can bet that that bike is already in the works someplace. What do we got? Mark Ellers. Hi, Mark. How are you, man? Thanks for the reply. I think it'll be a great addition to my night. All right. And Cameron Ramirez, Indian 4. Going to be Indian's newest model? Never. Nope. And I say never, tongue firmly planted in cheek, but a inline four-cylinder motorcycle in today's modern marketplace really isn't as realistic as it sounds. It would be a fun idea, but probably not something that would work. Indian should make a water-cooled touring bike. Yeah, Mark, and that's exactly what they're looking at is obviously traditionalists like a lot of us who are just, fans of the Thunderstroke motor. We're going to gravitate to the Roadmaster. We're going to gravitate to the Chieftain, those kinds of things. But as the touring models evolve, you're going to see a lot of this liquid cooling. And what you would have seen maybe in traditional metric touring bikes, you're now going to start to see developing in the Indian lineup because they have a platform to do it from, pretty much unlike any other right now. And what do we got here? JP's Indian's missing the market by not offering a pizza box. Yeah, that's a complaint I heard a lot of times about a lot of, people trying to adapt this motorcycle. And believe me, Indian Motorcycle and Polaris both, but Indian really over the last, I'm going to say 18 months, has spent more time listening to customers than probably ever in their development of the brand. Because when they now are making new product, it's going to be stuff that people want. Okay. They're not going to take and build something, stick it out there and see if people like it. These are going to be very customer facing for a long time to come because they want to be successful over time. And the only way you do that is by answering customer demand. It's simple. What do we got here? You think they'll push for victory performance side and a heritage side? It's already in development, kind of, Rusty. You're already seeing it. Heritage riders or the guys that would be drawn to the things, perhaps that I like, and I'm kind of a mixed bag when it comes to this stuff. You're seeing a change there. Again, we're going to start with places like the Chieftain Elite. Now, traditionally, that would have been a little bit more of the glam and a little bit more of the heritage additions to parts. Not this time around. If anything, they've leaned it out in terms of what they've added or hung on the bike and really relied on the bike's stance and a new, very dynamic paint scheme. And a lot of things that really stand out in terms of trim and finishes that if you saw or listened to our interview with the guys from Indian, those are very likely going to trickle down. Kyle Gady made it very clear that they don't take anything out of the mix. Everything is still there. So I think you're going to see a lot of that stuff happen. Yeah. And this is the point right there. John said it. Chrome floorboards on a dark horse don't work. But if you look at the modern one, we'll take a look at that right now. And this is one of the things I think is important that you notice. This is a different direction. And it kind of points to what you were talking about. They are going to have that heritage core, and it's going to be there for a long time. But the new customer that they're aiming at and leans a little edgier, and he's this guy. He looks for the motor finishes. He looks for some of these more unique trim finishes without it being over the top. And using the dark horses as a template, it made perfect sense with this bike. So I guess that's just going to be the way. Hey, look at this. Our guest this week on the show drops by and hangs out on a Friday night. Probably sitting there overlooking Charlotte Motor Speedway. I love it, Tim. You got a good life. My camera watch. I'm going to try to focus it again. There we go. We missed. There it is. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back in just a few minutes. Don't go away because we have got a lot to talk about. And I'm going to give you details when I come back about that $500 gift card from Custom Dynamics. They've got everything to light up your ride. It's Indian Rider Radio After Hours. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, it's Amanda from Indian Motorcycle Charlotte and Lloyd's Garage here. I want to talk to you about our B4 custom bike series. I think there's been a little bit misunderstanding of what they are. I know you guys have seen our pictures all over social media and our website of these badass custom bikes with that custom paint job with the blue and the red in some of them. They're amazing. But it's not just that full package that you see. It's actually like a menu, and you get to pick your own custom package. You're gonna start with that menu and say you're really feeling that Dark Horse Chieftain or Roadmaster and you don't want the custom paint job. You don't have to mark it. You can go right down that line. Say you don't want the Arnaut Air Ride and the center stand. It's not really your thing. You don't have to get it. Say you don't want the fat front tire. As badass as it is, it's not everybody's flavor, and we get that. You don't have to get it. Reversely, if you just want the custom paint job and you don't want the performance, which it happens, you can do that, but that is why we do those. And I'm not going to go through the rest of the list because you want Lloyd's exhaust, you want the 126, you want the 1901 floorboards and foot pegs. The rest is a no-brainer. If you guys have more questions, feel free to give me a call, email me. Our number is 704-879-4560.
And welcome back, everybody. The lovely and talented Amanda Bramble from Indian Motorcycle Charlotte talking about the B4 bikes. And I know that they at least sold one and possibly a couple more down there at Daytona Bike Week. But if you haven't seen the B4 selection from Lloyd's Garage, Indian Motorcycle Charlotte, 1901 Customs, you really need to take a look at them. They are really showpieces. Not only are they performance, but they look great. They're amazing motorcycles. A lot of design goes into those. They're really amazing. So let's go back to our comments, guys, and see what we're doing here on Friday night. All right. Who do we have here? Let's see. Oh, what do we let's start with this. Two chieftains and a scout bobber. Well, that's a nice collection right there, Larry. Keith Ray, who is I see watching his live on his big screen in his RV tonight, is Indian Corporation working on increasing the dealer network. I know in a lot of places the Indian dealership is owned by the local HD dealer. I'd love to know the stats from those dealers. Okay, well let's talk a little bit about that, Keith, because um, the original Indian motorcycle dealership that I went to work for was associated with a Harley Davidson store. And at the time, I want to say that the dynamic was a little awkward, but it was not counterproductive. It was awkward, is the only way I could put that. Because when you're that in that close proximity, you're always talking to customers from the other brand. And granted, you were able to demonstrate and show the bikes comparatively next to one another very easily, which was great. So, what to ask the original question though? Yes, again, from my experience in the dealerships, they have a business development section of Indian Motorcycle where guys that have maybe been, salespeople or they've been involved in some other capacity with Indian Motorcycle, be it a district sales manager or retail experience manager, something of that sort. And because they've had experience within the dealerships and then interacting with dealers, they now understand the components necessary to put together a new store. And they do have a very definitive list of things you have to, and criteria you have to meet. But they are very encouraging and they are looking out all the time and really pushing hard and at finding guys and people who may be ready to open a store because yeah, the dealer network has to grow. For the brand to grow, that has to happen. But also because we as riders will demand it over time, and as this brand does what we all expect it to do, and that is overtake Harley Davidson eventually in overall sales and American V twin sales, especially in heavyweight cruisers, I think it's inevitable that they will do a lot of different things and work with a lot of different components. Maybe not the ones that they would like to be, maybe not 100% ideal situations every time, but I think they will be out there aggressively looking for places and ways to grow that stuff. Okay, see, we were just talking about the V4s. You sold 3 of them. Yeah. Now you know what I'm talking about, right? And what else do we have here? What's Derry got? Have you heard from Indian about the great job you are doing? um, kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Um, realize that yes, everyone that I've ever spoken to with Indian Motorcycle has been very, very complimentary of the show. They've been very nice about coming on and dealing with me through their public relations firm, who also are fantastic people. I mean, they helped us out last December with the real time test ride. Um, yeah, they, Indian Motorcycle has been very gracious to me, and they've been very helpful in the show by just by coming on. And yeah, yeah, they've been very supportive. And I don't know if I've gotten the original, hey, we love what you're doing, but they certainly haven't avoided the opportunity to come on the show. And that all by itself says plenty. What do we got here? Just hanging out, waiting for my 2022 Chief. Well, Carl, join the line, man. I'm ready for one too. I think that it will, I think it's likely to be the other bike in the stable. I seriously gave thought to a Scout, and mm, I don't know. I might have to go the other way. So what do we got here? Oh, from the V Twin blog, none other than Larry Marshall, who, by the way, hooks you up this week on our show with a checklist that goes in your saddlebag. That's all I'm going to tell you. Getting a vibe for the FDR from customers. That's a good question, Tim. What is the vibe on the new FDR? Because early feedback that I've heard from it, it's now going to appeal to a little different customer and has a completely different street feel. So might be something to look at. Maybe India, okay, from Keith, maybe India could start a program like Chick-fil-A where they create operators of corporate dealerships with a path to moving to dealership to private ownership. That's not such a far-fetched idea, and I know that is networking in especially now in retail settings. It's become kind of the way of the world because a lot of these people have all the know-how and the ability. They just don't have the cash in hand. And that could be one of the limiting factors. Keith, good call. Marketing team, top notch, and I know they are paying attention. Indeed, yeah, yeah. And Larry Marshall is if you haven't visited the V Twin blog, the vtwinblog.com, it is a one-stop shop for everything in terms of news and information regarding American V Twin motorcycles. Larry does an amazing job with that. But what you'll also find out is that he has the right connects. You're going to get real news from Larry, and he's right. The marketing departments and the customer facing research people that Indian Motorcycle and Polaris, for that matter, have on their team are probably some of the best I've ever seen because they are very, very sensitive to what the marketplace is doing, what the economy looks like, what riders are gravitating to, and not just here in the US. They're doing it worldwide, and that's going to speak volumes for them over time. Okay, JP, does 60 offer a self-tinting visor like Bell has with the photochromic shield? No, right now they don't, to my knowledge, and they did not when I ordered the helmet. And but I can tell you this: the one that they have in there is not so dark that it's impossible to see through, even in kind of overcast conditions. But it does work very, very well. And like you, I because I wear glasses and I have to wear them to ride, I very much would like to have a photochromatic lens on everything because I think they're great. And that's one of the reasons I gravitated for so long to the Bell Qualifier DLX. It also had the MIPS system in it, the multi-directional impact protection system, but it also offered the Pro Vision and the Pro Tint screens, and those things mean a lot to me. Those are important. But I absolutely positively love the one on that 60. It's a great helmet to wear, and from the moment you pick it up that it is well built and it is going to last. And that's one of the things that matters to me as well. Okay, what do we have here? I appreciate what they're doing from a marketing side and how they're building brand awareness through influencers most recently. It's smart. It is. And, it's really it's fascinating to look across the entire motorcycle industry and you look at moto vloggers and travelers and Instagram influencers and that kind of thing, and look at the impact they're having on the brand's growth and its development, and then be able to tap into that on a level that at first blush you wouldn't think. These are younger people doing dynamic things. Are they the new motorcyclist? They are. And see, that's why they want to find these guys, because without them we don't know what the future of the sport looks like. Simple as that. I've been on motorcycles now over 50 years. Or, I started riding as 8, 9 years old. So I've kind of morphed into the old guy. I'm another old biker. But the new rider, wants and likes different things. And Indian Motorcycle has really tapped into that because without it, you run into what so many of the other motorcycle manufacturers ran into is the appeal lasts just so long. And then at some point, it doesn't work anymore. And if you don't adapt with that and you haven't, I want to say, built your customer base from the beginning, then you're struggling. And I don't think Indian's going to put themselves in that position. I really don't. Yeah. What do we got? Oh, Fish is still participating from afar. Hello, my friend. I'm glad you're enjoying your vacation. They do listen, I hear. I don't know about the Riding Fish channel, though. Yeah, not those people. They don't pay attention there at all. I can tell you that for a fact. I work with the guy. What do we got here? I think they sold two and then built one while there. Yeah, that's awesome. Isn't that amazing that they have the ability? Like if you walk up and you say, I like the red B4 and it's really cool and whatnot, they can go, gotcha. No, no worries, bro. We'll build one for you. And what do we got here, Paul? Paul Beardsley. They do have their eyes and ears open and gather the data. If you notice, and I've always wondered about this, so maybe somebody else knows, but you notice that they send out surveys and a lot of different owner groups get them at different times. Now, for example, I got one recently that was about some technology things that they were working on. Talked to some of my friends, they hadn't seen it, but then they mentioned one about, what the chief might look like over time. It would come out before that I hadn't seen. So, yes, they take a lot of time and they put out a lot and they search for information. One of the things that I found fascinating when I worked in dealerships is that you might meet someone from Indian corporate just because they happen to be in the area. A project director or someone associated with design, or maybe a salesperson or a sales trainer, or somebody in that other next echelon of management that you don't normally meet. And that was fascinating because these guys would come in, talk to your sales staff, walk around. They were obviously paying attention then, and they were listening. And they did the same thing on the customer facing level with IMRG, simplifying that and helping it out. Can't trust anyone named Fish. Sure you can. Yeah. Oh, I got one about helmet development. Bring it on, Terry. What do we want to know about helmet development? Serve one up for me. But to finish the thought on the customer facing thing, they really do spend a lot of time now taking the pulse of everything from the racing side of it to, what we're doing with FTR, because it is kind of a departure, whether or not, how rally is going to develop and what's going on over time with all of these models. And, I hear some of the traditionalists, the chief is not the chief. Let me tell you straight up, my friends, as a salesperson and a sales manager inside Indian motorcycle dealerships, the chief and I fell in love with one another. It was a beautiful motorcycle, a wonderful bike on every level, and they threw all kinds of things at it, whether it was paint schemes or trim levels or whatever they did. The bike never really found a home. Okay. Customers loved it, but it wasn't that next evolutionary step that they were going to take from the Scout, or, if you're bringing them off HD, a Dyna, or even something like that, wasn't where they were going next. And it really took a little bit. Oh, yeah. Terry, he was talking about a survey about helmet development. Yeah, I got one of those too, bud. So again, we go back to that other theme, and that is that the company is not going to sit there and do something that just because a handful of us like it. We got to realize that some of us, aren't going to buy too many more motorcycles. But just because we like it aesthetically doesn't mean that it was popular enough in a marketplace where they sell roughly 90,000 motorcycles a year to keep putting money into those brands. You have to adapt and you have to change. And that's something that Indian Polaris has never been afraid of. At least with the brand, they've demonstrated that they are ready to go full speed ahead, doing what they need to do to make the thing work and make it sell. And that's, I think, important. Anybody else? Questions, comments, thoughts? And by all means, hey, while we're here, I got to tell you, many of you know that I was selling my house. Okay. Well, yeah, we finally got this house sold, signed the paperwork, did all that stuff today, which was awesome. And then turned right around and got another place. But in the meantime, while that one is being finished, it won't be built, I guess, and it won't be done being built until probably June or July. So, as I have told you guys, I'm going on the road this summer. We are going to stop at a lot of places. The first stop we're going to make is we are going to bring our new traveling mobile system to Charlotte, or excuse me, to Charleston, South Carolina. We are going to be there as the Southeast Iron Butt Tour lands in Charleston. And that's going to be a lot of fun. There's 130 plus riders all doing a Saddle Soar 1000 to land in Charleston. And then on that day, we're going to have a great party. It's going to be a ton of fun. Anyway, we're that's going to be our first stop. And here in just a little while, the next probably a few weeks, we will debut what our mobile studio looks like and what it involves. And you guys are going to get blown away. It's going to be a lot of fun. And, you know, I, I think you'll enjoy it. My friend Derek Hull. Oh boy, here we go. World Superbike versus MotoGP. You're gonna make me flip a coin, aren't you? I lean MotoGP, and I do that just because I like the circuits they run on. I like the way the bikes and I like the way the competition is set up there in MotoGP. So there's my silly answer for the question. All right, Derek, how you been? By the way, good to see you, my friend. Glad you're here. Larry asked it, am I going to Sturgis? Yes, sir, I am. And we are going in bulk. And it looks like, again, guys, realize that a lot of the planning for this is kind of it's very rudimentary level. But yes, we will be at the Buffalo Chip. We will be in relatively close proximity to Lloyd's Garage, but we are bringing it out there and we were doing up big. So just be prepared. We're going to have a lot of fun there. And just down the road from me, what do we got here? Oh, can't wait to see that. Gabe, I love you, man. What do we got here? Ed, I missed it. What was to comment about the Chief delay? Was it this for those that have pre-purchased it, or the thinking that this affects those who want to see them in showrooms to purchase? The Chief delay was really and more really about secondary and aftermarket parts, and then the parts availability and accessorizing through the dealership once the bike gets there. The bikes are going to have already started landing in some dealerships. You're going to start to see them around the country here, little deeper numbers in the next little while. And then there's going to be a little bit of a lag as PG&A gets dialed in, parts, garments, and accessories, because although there's going to be a package that they send you, okay? And this is something else you guys need to know. And I'm kind of breaking down one of the mystery walls here, but when a new model comes out, Indian sends a representative to your dealership and you talk about the options you have in terms of what things you put in inventory. And generally speaking, they've identified, a good share of the things that people that would be drawn to that particular bike would want. And dealers then have to negotiate that and kind of look at what they're doing in terms of, how much of it they can afford, how soon they want it. So that's what we're talking about. There's a time lag between the bikes landing in the dealer and all that stuff arriving at the dealership as well. So just something to think of. Yeah, there you go. Gotcha. Boom. All right. So anyway, to finish my thought here, so we're going to be out of this place pretty soon. Then it goes mobile. We're going to go pretty much mobile all the way around. And then later in the summertime, we're going to stop back home, move into our new place. And in the interim, make plans to be at as many opportunities to see guys like yourselves anywhere and everywhere we can. Okay. I'm going to put it out there. We really want to come by and see you. And we are so excited to go see the Low Country guys and visit American Biker Indian of Charleston. It's going to be tons of fun. So that's just one kickoff. But I'd like to drop by your dealership. I'd love to come by and see, whatever you got going on. Okay. All of that's good stuff. So you let us know. What do we have? Join us in Lima for the flat track races. You will never have more fun getting hit in the face with pea gravel. Oh, dude, I'm well aware. If you guys didn't know, I spent a good part of my career moonlighting, doing track announcing and public address announcing at dirt racetracks around the country. It's one of the reasons I follow racing so much, and it's going to be a ton of fun. But yeah, we do plan to go to one of the AFT events. I think the one we're going to wind up at least looking at the calendar early, will be in Oklahoma City. I think we want to drop in there because we have not been to the Oklahoma City track in a while. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be new for some of these riders. I am working too on getting press credentialing and some of that stuff lined up so that I can, cover these things for you properly, I guess, for lack of a better word. But it's really going to be a ton of fun. And now I'm getting some suggestions. How about this? Thunder in the Valley in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Well, that could be on the Johnstown, PA. I haven't been Pennsylvania in years. Summer's going to fly by for you, Wit. Yeah, it is. Oh, what do we have here? Tyler. Tyler Lubenthal. Tyler, well, really wish my 2020 Roadmaster could get the new map update. Well, if you think about it, there will be a new Thunderstroke ECU that's in the Chief. Okay, it's very similar to what's in the Challenger now. So maybe, and I don't know this to be true, I am not a service technician. I'm not speaking for Indian in this case, but you never know. You might be able to adapt that ECU to some of the older Thunderstroke models. I don't know. Worth thinking about. All right, what do we got here? Definitely want to see a live flat track race this year. Slim, I'm telling you, there's nothing else like it. And Fish, if you're still paying attention, Riding Fish went to Volusia for the opener this year, and he had never been to a flat track race. But I'm telling you what, it becomes addictive right out of the gate. It is so exciting, and so it just makes it'll make the hair on your arm stand up. It's really amazing. It's fun to watch. What do we have here? They won't send the email of a lot of Indian owners are having the problem. Yeah, I mean, they don't blow you up, and they just want to find out. I went last week. I had so fun. Great riders. See, there's my point exactly. American Flat Track is, it's really an amazing thing because when you think about Indians' presence in that event, American Flat Track was on its way back on the map. When it came under new management, it really was starting to find its feet. And it wasn't really until Indian Motorcycle made a commitment to American Flat Track and the bike began doing so well that we Indian faithful and enthusiasts, we're really some of the guys who have driven the new interest in American Flat Track. And the fun thing about it is that it continues to be very brand driven right now. And the guys have done so well. And Indian has made such a long-term commitment to motorcycle racing, be it hill climbing, be it flat track, now King of the Baggers. I think you're going to see more of that. There could be a category too where FDR becomes a race venue. So in any event, I think you're seeing what really signifies and it really defines Indian Motorcycle, and that is that they want to push the envelope on a lot of levels, and racing is just one of them. Larry's with me here. AFT is a blast. Sadly, I was with the race when Brad Baker got injured. Yeah, that was a tough one, man. That kid, but he's bouncing back. He's bouncing back big. I mean, he's racing a sprint car. He's doing commentary. I think the kid's going to do okay. Tragic event, but if anybody's going to make the best of it, Brad Baker is one of those guys. You never count him out. I don't care what you do. You don't count that kid out on anything. And here, Whit was at the races as well. It was cool to watch. I took the kids with me, AFT Volusia, and Whit, they had to dig it too after they got over the original shock when they went by. Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. I Motorsports, home of Route 66 Indian. Route 66 starts here in Chicago. What a better way to promote heritage and history. Oh, now, Ed, you're talking my language there, buddy. And I'd like to come up to Chicagoland for some other reasons. Some of you might be familiar with AMA Pro motorcycle drag racing. And if you are, you probably then know Brian Connolly Jr. Now, he's down at the Cajun National right now in Louisiana. And this kid is really fascinating. An amazing young man in terms of he's eloquent, he's intelligent, he's respectful, but he's also incredibly talented. And he races in one category, a Scout that is about 99% stuff that you yourself could buy. And the kid turns amazing times on him. And I say kid only because he's so much younger than me, but talented, smart, and Valley Racing is a company he's associated with. He and his dad run the shop. Awesome kid. You got to check him out. So if you ever want to go to a pro drag race, look for Brian. What else we got here? Did AFT pull Sturgis off the schedule? This year they did, yes. And primarily because there was some scheduling conflicts as I understood it, Larry. And one of the things was they wanted to get some of these other venues on the schedule that hadn't been in the past. And they wanted to bring back a Super TT very, very desperately. So in order to do that the way they did, it just didn't land in their lap correctly. So one of those things, my friends. What is this? How cool would it be to let us do one lap on a flat track? Oh, Terry, don't get me started. Oh, you have no idea how many times I want to just go out and drag a knee. I want to put my foot down and just slide. I do. As young people, when my brother and I were coming up on bikes, we had a favorite uncle who worked for a flat track team with a local dealership. And many of you heard the story on one of our episodes. And to watch those guys ride and practice was just fascinating. And my brother and I would go home and try to emulate that all the time. I didn't know that dirt bikes could slide sideways that often, but we made it happen. So it was a ton of fun, a lot of fun. And oh, would you like to know how to learn how to win this Custom Dynamics $500 gift card? Yeah, I think you would. All right. So to win the $500 Custom Dynamics gift card, I see a bunch of you have stuck around just to find out how this is done. Comment. That's how it's done. We're going to draw randomly. We're going to basically spin the wheel and let it land on someone who has shared and in the comments tonight. So now, no one word comments, just get down to writing. But if you want to share a comment, why don't you share their tagline? Custom Dynamics, everything to light up your ride. Otherwise, come by, drop in, send us a question. We're happy to talk about it. It's great to have you guys along tonight, by the way. Oh, and Nos, doing my thing with that. Mm. Oh, yeah, here we go. That's the way. See, what this really does is it lets me find out how fast you can type. But if you're in the comments, we are going to get all done tonight. Spin the wheel, drop it, pretty much let the thing land on one. And then we are going to get you connected. And when I reach out to you too on Facebook, by all means, get me back your information so that we can get you connected with Custom Dynamics. It is everything that lights up your ride and none other than the Pro Beam LED technology that is like none other. The lights are featured on places like Bearded Bobber. Okay, you know him. Lilith Challenger, so many of those others, all there. So it's everything to light up your ride. I have Custom Dynamics on my vintage. It's amazing. Of course it is. It is better than amazing. All right, you guys, quick break. We're right back. Don't go away.
I'm in Bison Thunder here in St. Paul. They want to sell you a bike and help you build a bike. Yeah. Why wait till all the parts are on back order?
We have special things going on that we put in our dealership in Minnesota. We're signing people out and they're not even paying for their bike for up to 4 months.
Buy them now.
Yep. No Worries Promise, which is lifetime powertrain. First 2 years maintenance and wear items are covered on all new bikes, the heavyweight.
Bison Thunder here in St. Paul. Also have one in Rogers. All right. So that's where they are. Come to Bison Thunder, St. Paul. Home of the No Worries Promise.
Yes, sir. Peace.
Hi, guys, and welcome back to Indian Rider Radio After Hours. I'm Curtis Sawyer, and I am glad you have dropped by and hung out with us tonight. Again, we're giving away a $500 Custom Dynamics gift card tonight. Just drop into the comments. You can even say something as simple as everything to light up your ride, and CustomDynamics.com is where you'll find a variety of incredible things, lighting systems and adaptive lights for your Indian motorcycle. If you haven't checked them out, you got to. Bearded Bobber's got a video up recently with featuring them. And there's just a lot of stuff that these guys do that is really unique when it comes to motorcycle lighting or lighting systems at all, for that matter. Most are simple LED systems, but these have been heavily researched. They're OEM quality from an aftermarket vendor, and you don't get that everywhere. Custom Dynamics, you will, though. I can trust me on that. Let's go back to our comments, see what you guys are up to and talking about. Great customer support, too. That's exactly right. One of the things that you're going to find out with places like Custom Dynamics, and them are one in particular. Let me fix my camera again. Thank you. is that they actually pay very close attention to satisfying the customer, and they back up their warranty without question. That's unique in this industry. It really is. And oh, look, John's already buying stuff. He's got stuff in the cart, for crying out loud. I love this guy. Paul, everything to light up your ride. Oh, your Indian ride. There you go, Paul. So let me go back for just a minute while some of you guys are formulating questions and thoughts, and let you know what we have in mind. As we mentioned, we'll start in Charleston, South Carolina. That'll be the latter part of April, early May. Then we'd like to meander north and go back up to Charlotte and spend a little time at Indian Motorcycle Charlotte, get to hang out with those guys and get to meet some of you too as you guys filter in this spring to get that CRTV1 tune. But again, Lloyd's Garage and Indian Motorcycle Charlotte have been so great to the show, and we love having them on as guests and being part of what we do. So we're going to drop in on them. Then we might head up and visit Riding Fish in his backyard and then meander our way down and come back to Tennessee. And plans are now to ride along with the Thundering Indians to the Smokies ride. And if you don't know Lawrence Hodge and Chuck Cameron and Lawrence's wife, Denise, great people. You need to check in with them. They, by the way, were one of our original guests. And that's one of the reasons why here at roughly our 1 year anniversary, Indian Rider Radio was born March 4th, 2020. Week later, we were in the COVID era. Yeah, who would have thought? And now, just a little bit shy of a year and a month, we are one of the most listened to podcasts in our genre and doing very well, and excited to have people like you hanging out with us. So we appreciate that. What do we got going on? See, John's got this. He's just rolling the show tonight. I want to stop at Lloyd's for a tune on my way to Florida. Well, that's not a bad plan. Oh, hey, well, yes, of course, Larry. If I'm coming to the Minneapolis area, I'm going to drop in and see you. You better believe it. You, me, and Fish are going to go over to Bison and just start, getting carried away. We love those guys up there. So it's going to be fun when the three of us converge on the place, won't it? What do we got? Anonymous, how the heck are you, man? Where have you been all night? We were partying without you. I don't know what happened. Did you not get the invite? I don't know. So let's see. Let's talk about something else that I think is important for at least a lot of us that have talked. We were talking earlier about, for example, the Chief and it not being a big seller and why the new Chief is going to be so important to the lineup in terms of heritage. And you guys know, Indian Motorcycle categorizes its buyers, its core audience, if you will, in three different categories. Heritage guys. Now, the heritage is valance fenders, tan leather, trim, the willow green. Those are heritage type things. And it's one of the reasons that the classic fairing now spoke so definitively to that customer, because it was reminiscent of Indian Motorcycle forever, even though they had never had one with a full fairing on it. So everything kind of fitted together. Then there's the rogue customer. The rogue customer is a guy who is a little more, I want to say he's an experienced rider. He's a little more dialed in. He likes to know a lot about his motorcycle and his performance. And he might be a little bit younger in many cases than the heritage guy. And then there's a characteristic that they call the Moto customer. Now, the Moto customer is a really simple thing. He's young. That's really all he is. He's a young guy. And he's a younger guy who likes technology. He likes something different. He will pay for an experience and enjoy the convenience of the experience. And he does not want to do something quite the way it was done in the past. Okay. And you'll look at that in the neo-retro designs of some of these things, the built not bought theory that we talked about on multiple occasions, and how guys will adapt their motorcycle usage to their lifestyle. As a commuter, as a weekender, there's a variety of those things. But I've been in the motorcycle world now long enough to see it happen, where guys like myself, I've kind of morphed along and grown with some of the things that are out there, whether it be helmet designs, what I wear, who I use, what equipment I use, what things I use. And that's from trial and error over years and years and years, but moving along with the advancements in all of those things. Simple leather set of chaps doesn't cut it for me anymore. I don't like those. I'll wear armored jeans long before I'll wear a set of chaps, for example. Okay. But I wore them for years. The new kid, the new guy, and I don't want to call him a kid, but the guy who leans towards the younger demos, those guys are the ones that are creating the new, what motorcycling will be going forward. and they are putting their own stamp on it. And that's what it's supposed to be. So I'm looking forward to how this develops over time and how Indian continues to move those customers through their product line. I think it's going to be fascinating. What do we got? Slim 56. I hope Custom Dynamics comes out with the saddlebag light for the classic style saddlebag. Double check their website. You might see something coming sooner than you think. I know that those guys are always working on that stuff. The success they had with the new saddlebag trim light, I think probably will lend itself to it. I don't know. David Perrula, if you're listening tonight, what what do you guys got going on? Here's one. Maria's Indian Adventures. Hi, Maria. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for dropping in. Really appreciate you coming by. Yeah, the saddlebag lights on the Challenger. See, and they told us even in the interview we did with David, and that is part of our feature we did with Briar Bauman. They're continuously looking for these designs, and this one was a home run. It really took off, and everybody that has them raves about them. All right. Mark Ellers, what is a 60-something guy who's owned 30-some motorcycles, been riding for 50 years? Well, you're pretty much a carbon copy of myself, Mark, and yeah, can be considered their heritage customer. Now, a lot of us don't necessarily fall in one category or the other. Don't misunderstand. We all kind of blur the lines a little bit because, frankly, I could go out and ride just as hard for the most part as I could 20 years ago. But yeah, I'm the same. I've owned a million different motorcycles, for different reasons from different manufacturers at different times in my life. And yeah, I guess we would still be a heritage customer because there's going to be things that appeal to us that don't necessarily appeal to a younger demographic buyer. They just have a different take on what they like to ride and how they like to ride. And that may change over time, but don't say old fart. Too late. Too late. We are. Yeah. Hope Custom. Oh, yeah. Okay. We got that one. Great bag lights. Yes, John, they do. Great combination. Plasma tubes and bag lights. Oh, carry on, my friend. Jim Murphy drops in. Hi, Jim. Recently installed the rear tour pack strobe for the brake light from Custom Dynamics. Works great. Everyone who rides behind me tells me how annoying it is. Exactly. It's just what you want. Realized, guys, I think we talked about it in the episode that motorcycle lighting for a long time was the realm of these guys that built custom bikes, show bikes, always fun to walk through a motorcycle show someplace. And here's one all lit up in lime green or something. Right. But I would have to say, I really would have to say that modern motorcycle lighting really does enhance your overall safety versus just looking good. And it looks great. But, you know, just in the time that I've been on motorcycles or Mark has been on motorcycles, there's so many of you have riding in traffic, riding among the rest of the humans out there. It's getting tougher all the time. There's more of them, fewer of them that have any relationship with motorcycles and how they operate. And we have cell phones and children, and we have a million other distractions. So anytime that you can make yourself more visible, I think increases your odds of being safer. Simple as that. It's just as easy as it gets. And companies like Custom Dynamics take that part of it seriously as well. There's lots of guys making toy lights, if you will. That's not the intent here. And I can tell because I talked to David at length. And the thing that I came away with talking to the Custom Dynamics people was this, is that if they can't make it to OEM quality and it doesn't look like it was made for your motorcycle, forget it. They're not going to do it. Simple as that. And Mark, you're very welcome for the reply. No worries, my friend. There, Dave finally said it. Yeah, cell phones kill us. They really do. And oh, hey, look out. Ross Cook. Custom dynamic lights do a great as attention getters. As finicky as the electrical system is with Indians, mine have not caused any issues. I have the brake light and the trunk light. Great show as always. Well, thank Ross. I appreciate you saying that. And you're right. Even David talks about it in the episode, how much testing they do on these things, not just in the design, but do they look right? Anybody can hang an LED light on something, but you got to make it work and do what it was intended to do and still look like it belonged there. And they go one step further is they do all of the DOT and OEM type testing. So you're not buying something that, isn't going to work. I mean, we even talk about that on the show is when it comes to lighting and some of these trim things, we are inundated as motorcyclists with the knockoff stuff. It is absolutely, to me, it's annoying. We see so much of that crap out there, and it is just no good. And how do you choose? I mean, you come to motorcycling today with all the choices you have from as many vendors as you have, it really gets tough to figure out who's who and what really is good. And that's where we can go back to that other thought. Influencers and bloggers and so many others are making the bigger impact because they're talking about this stuff and putting it out there in front of the public. You know, I don't do a lot of reviews, but I will do endorsements. And I can tell you the 6D helmet's amazing. I can tell you that Rush exhausts are amazing and a variety of other things that I use. Okay. But I can also tell you that there's a lot of people out there peddling stuff to motorcyclists that is no good. And young people or new people coming into motorcycling are getting taken all the time. So pay attention to the vloggers, pay attention to the guys that are out there actually testing, using, and showing you firsthand what it looks like. They are telling you more than you can believe. What do we got here? In a more natural conversational way, too. I have never had a set less flawlessly behind one seat. Yeah, there you go. Last question, I promise. I'm going I'm going on the back of the Dragon in July or on the tail in July. Anybody interested? There you go. Hit Mark up right now. You know, awesome. Hit him up with messages. Supposed to be one hell of a ride. I would believe it is, my friend. That's one of the reasons too I want to head down to Charleston. Is it has been a long, 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 long time since I've ridden in the mid-Atlantic states, and I want to go back and do some of that. And really never had a whole lot of time in the Shenandoah Valley, Shahala Highway, all of that. And I want to go ride the tail of the dragon again. That's been, God, half a lifetime ago. So, yeah. Oh, Whitney. Yeah, Whit Meza. Hey, Whit, by the way, drop us or tell us, you've got a lot going on too. She's doing a 48 state and 10-day type thing. Yeah. If you don't follow her on Instagram, it's at Whit Meza. And yeah, check it out because she's got 48 states, 10 days. I know it can be done. I know a lot of people have tried it or done it or whatever, but this lady is determined and she's got a lot going for her. She's a hell of a rider, so it should be fun. All right, guys, we're going to get ready to wrap it up here. We just got a couple of minutes away from an hour-long show tonight, so I want to thank you all again for dropping by. If you haven't commented yet and you're sitting there watching and listening, comment now, because if you're in the comments, you could hook up with that $500 Custom Dynamics gift card. Can't thank those guys enough too. They're going to open the door for me to say one more thing. I'm working with my local dealer, Pikes Peak Indian Motorcycle, and the general manager there, Tito Ceballos. As you know, the dealership is very much a performance-leaning dealership and customization work. So that being said, my 2019 Roadmaster Elite is going to go through something of a transformation. I want you to think about this for a second. 2019 Roadmaster Elite. It's red and black. It's got the 23 karat gold fleck in it. It is a beautiful motorcycle. What if they made that in a dark horse? What if they made that bike in a dark horse version? That's what it's going to be. All right, guys, it's been a ton of fun hanging out with you tonight. Really appreciate all of you dropping in. And if you haven't yet, you got a few more seconds, comment quickly because we're going to draw from everybody that's in the comments and somebody's getting $500 from Custom Dynamics. Next time around, I'm sure my friend Randy Fish will join us again. Always welcome you guys anytime to drop by at IndianRiderRadio.com. You'll find information there about our full ride scholarship program. Brave Wolf Customs, a sponsor for that program, and people like Rocky Mountain Performance and a variety of other stuff there as well. IndianRiderRadio.com is where you can also find our latest episode, in addition to just about everywhere you can find a podcast. In fact, pretty much everywhere you can find a podcast. Check us out. Tune us in. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a great night.